Okay, we started to stream.
Refresh me. We are online. Start. Okay. Then we can start with Mustafa. You. Okay, we are here at this point. This 23rd word, first chapter, first point, page 26. Fifth point, belief necessitates supplication as a certain means of securing needs, and both human nature has an intense desire for it, and Almighty Allah decrees, say, my sustainer will not concern himself with you, but for your supplication. قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم. Again, my sustainer, saying my sustainer would not concern himself with you, but for your supplication. Which is the meaning of what importance would you have if you did not offer me supplications. He also commands, call upon me and I will answer you. Call upon me and I will answer you. If you say, we frequently offer supplications, but they are not accepted. But the verse is general. It states that every supplication is answered. So I guess the second line, right? It's called upon me and I will answer you. It says, but the verse is general. So we sometimes offer supplications and they are seen not accepted. But the verse seems to be very general. States that every supplication is answered. The question is this. The answer, to answer is one thing, to accept is something quite different. Every supplication is answered, but it's being accepted and exactly what was so being given is dependent on Almighty Allah's wisdom. For example, if a sick child calls the doctor saying, Doctor, and he replies, here I am, what do you want? And the child says, give me that medicine. The doctor will either give him exactly what he has asked for, or something better and more beneficial for him. Or knowing that medicine is harmful for his illness, he will give him nothing. Thus, since Almighty Allah is all present, all seeing, He responds to the supplications of His servants. Through His presence and response, He transforms the desolation of loneliness and solitude into familiarity. But He does this not in accordance with man's capricious and impossible demands, but in accordance with the requirements of biblical wisdom. He gives either what is sought or what is better than it, or He gives nothing at all. So what does answering mean? Here says, I will answer you. So it doesn't say I will accept your favor. So du'uni means call upon me. I will answer you. And what does answering mean? How do you understand something? He responds to the supplication of his servants. So how does Allah respond? Through His presence and response, He transforms the desolation of loneliness. So what does responding mean? What do you understand?
Yesterday we talked about that human beings are terrestrial. So we are under God's supervision and this is He's watching over us all the time. So He's going to respond to our needs, to our expectations, but in a way that fits with His sovereignty, wisdom, depending on what is the best, what the best is for us. So you cannot expect that He He'll give whatever you want directly. He's going to explain it here. So answering is what I understand from it is that God supervises, watches, monitors what's going on. So the comparison, there's a comparison here in China and the doctor says, here I am, what do you want? So in the reality, you mean that response is Allah's address and mankind, telling that I'm following you, I'm answering your prayers, yeah, I'm hearing you. So knowing that we are making dua, so that we know that Allah is hearing us. So it's a kind of answering. Yes. So says the best of dua is that knowing Allah is hearing us, we can do whatever we wish. He is all powerful. So knowing that it's a kind of answering. He transforms the desolation of loneliness and solitude into temporary. But he does this not in accordance with man's capricious and unfortunate demands. So he is answering in a wise way, sometimes gives, sometimes doesn't give what we want. So he is transforming it to a better condition, what we want. I think worship and prayer is a relation between servants of God and great since it's a relation um, we are expected to do supplication ask something all the time from the Creator. Yeah. In that regard, God always answers always. Elaborate. So supplication, so it continues with supplication as a form of worship. So Allah's answering his own worshiping is maybe fully will be in the hereafter. The result of the worshiping is not in the hereafter. Yeah. We can read some verses from the letters, from the letter, first example. Third point, there are two ways in which voluntary supplication by word is acceptable. It is either accepted exactly as desired, or what is better is granted. For example, someone asks for a son, and Almighty Allah gives a daughter like Mary. It may not be said his supplication was not accepted, but that was accepted in a better form. For example, someone asks for a son, and Almighty Allah gives a daughter like Mary. It may not be said his supplication was not accepted, but that was accepted in a better form. Also, sometimes a person makes supplication for his own happiness in this world, and it is accepted for the hereafter. It may not be said his supplication was rejected, but then it was accepted in a more beneficial form. And likewise, since Almighty Allah is all-wise, we seek from Him and He responds to us, but He deals with us according to His wisdom. A sick person should not cast aspersions on the wisdom of his doctor. If he asks for honey and the expert doctor gives him quinine. Yes. He may not say, the doctor did not listen to me. Rather, the God will listen to his sighs and moans. He heard them and responded to them. He provided better than what was asked for.
It's also the meaning of answering the prayers. Yeah, I understand. Answering in different sometimes, not as we wanted. So in a different way, he is answering. Sometimes he gives the same creativity he wanted to know even me more than we do. Yes. He knows us better than we know ourselves. So, as our creator, sustainer, he's the one, and he also takes into account this world, but the hereafter as well. Maybe it's that this world, if it prevents a larger benefit that is everlasting in the hereafter, that is not a benefit. So even if we think it is a benefit, he asks for it, and he doesn't give it to us because he considers it to the larger benefit in the hereafter. We cannot really say that Allah can accept our prayer. He actually listened to us, he accepted it. If we are sincere, it's a better form than the hereafter. We cannot truly know if our prayers are accepted. I guess until we learn it in here in this world with our limited visibility. I guess we cannot really exactly but yeah, the ayah, the verse says it is answered, it's responded. Allah responds to our prayers. Yeah. We can't really say that it's not accepted. Good example I heard, I'd like to share with you, but if you help me, you can come. For example, in the womb, yeah, Allah gives baby, legs, arms, and something like that. But the baby is them dead. For example, if she says baby, if baby says, it's not necessary here. There is no need to have legs, arms. Use. This in this world, baby will need them. Allah knows. Baby cannot know. We are like baby in this world. We don't know. I think we should accept our limits. We don't know what will happen 1 minute later. Our next says to have a car, to have a large house is good. But we don't know. Allah knows the best for us. That's why we should rely on His wisdom. We should rely on His wisdom. By looking things Allah has given to us in this world, we should focus on them and we should rely on His wisdom.
I also have, I'm blessed with a little girl. Sometimes she asks something that she should have asked. So in any case, I accommodate her to answer what she wants, but to give something that is good for her, not that will harm her. Because sometimes she asks for something that she thinks that it is good for her, but actually eventually it might be harmful for her.
So she won't eat after holiday?
Yeah, it's right. It's not yes.
You can continue from there.
The answer, you know the answer?
Yeah, you can say the answer.
Like one pair. The other question is, if you say frequently offer supplications but they are not accepted, but the verse is general, it states that every supplication is answered. The answer, to answer is one thing, to accept is something quite different. Every supplication is answered. but is being accepted, exactly what was so being given, is dependent on Almighty Allah's wisdom. For example, if a sick child calls the doctor saying, "Doctor, doctor," and he replies, "Here I am, what do you want?" and the child says, "Give me that medicine," the doctor will either give him exactly what he asks for, or something better and more beneficial for him. Or knowing that medicine is harmful for his illness, he will give him nothing. Thus, since Almighty Allah is all-present and all-seeing, He responds to the supplications of His servants. Through His presence and response, He transforms the desolation of loneliness and solitude into familiarity. But He does this not in accordance with man's capricious and importunate demands, but in accordance with the requirements of dominical wisdom. He gives either what is sought or what is better than it, or He gives nothing at all. Also, supplication is a form of worship and recognition of man's servitude to Allah. The fruits of this pertain to the hereafter. The aims pertaining to this world are the times of a particular sort of supplication and worship. For example, the prayers and supplications for rain are a form of worship. Drought is the time for such worship. Worship and supplications of this sort are not in order to bring rain. If they are performed with that intention alone, they are not worthy of acceptance, for they are not sincere worship. Sunset is the time of the evening prayers, and eclipses of the sun and moon are the times of two particular prayers known as Salat al-Kusuf and Salat al-Khusuf. That is to say, with the veiling of the two luminous signs of the night and day, Allah's tremendousness is proclaimed. So Almighty Allah calls His servants to a sort of worship at those times. The prayers are not so that the sun and moon will be revealed, whose appearance and how long the eclipses will continue have anyway been reckoned by astronomers. In just the same way, drought is the time for the prayers for rain, and the visitation of calamities and infliction of harmful things, the times of certain supplications, when man realizes his impotence and through his supplication and entreaty seeks refuge at the court of one possessing absolute power. Even if the calamities are not lifted despite many supplications, it may not be said that they were not accepted. It should rather be said that the time for the supplication is not yet over. If through His graciousness and munificence Almighty Allah removes the calamity, light upon light, then the time for that supplication is over and done with. That is to say, supplication is the meaning of worship, and man acknowledging his servitude to Allah.
Question comes to mind. So we will not, we are making dua for the rain. There's a special prayer for it. We are praying salat and we are going outside so that we want rain from Allah. So we will not, our aim should not be the bringing of the rain. Is that so?
It sounds like it.
So if we go outside for rain and we make dua, it's not sincere. Sent wrongly, or
That's why the same question or similar question I am thinking. The sentence is this. I don't know. If and that is the time for such worship, worship and supplication of this sort are not in order to bring rain, if they are performed with that intention alone, they are not worthy of acceptance, for they are not sincere worship. If we read the sentence without alone, what happens? With alone, without alone. I think alone can help us to understand your question. Alone, if we read this sentence without telling alone, what happens?
We erase the sincerity.
Yeah.
So it becomes more not for the sake of Allah, for making dua, or to show, or
just like any other causes,
Yeah.
then we ascribe the causality to the prayer and forget
the pleasing of Allah.
we forget to please Allah and our relationship with Him. So in all prayers and worships, the idea is to acquire the content of God. Otherwise that doesn't make sense. The time is for prayer, and that reminds us to seek support from Allah, to bow down and prostrate before Him, to ask and seek as a prayer. So otherwise it shouldn't be different from expecting expecting food and nutrition from the farms, or these formulas of genetic whatever developments. Yes, we should do all of them, but at the end, it's God's power and knowledge who decides creation. If He doesn't want to give, we can't harvest food, we can't rain. So it also relates to divine determination. As if we are constant reflection and remembrance of God. The life is not automatically going on without Allah's intervention. Allah always intervenes.
Directly, is under His supervision, His control, His sustaining. So supplication is a form of worship. If there is no alone in the sentence, so it becomes not worship. It doesn't become worship. So it's the worship. We are making dua. It's a kind of worship. So if we go outside for praying or just for rain, so it becomes out of the aim of prayer.
But another aspect, I think alone says that, as far as I understand, God can help us to make a supplication, but it cannot be reasonable. Alone means, in this sense, God can help us as people to make supplication, in making supplication, but only with that intention, because of God. If we make supplication, it is not right, correct. But alone that says that you can help, you can take help from drought. Drought can encourage us to make supplication, but only encourage. If it becomes drought, becomes real result, Allah, I forget the order of Allah. It cannot be supplication.
So it is a good occasional opportunity to worship.
Yes.
And actually, I would like to know your lecture from yesterday. There is a connection about Sunnah and Quran. One thing, certainly you can take the drought as an opportunity to go and worship, but the material benefit. Okay, I need the rain, so let me do some prayers, and maybe I will have rain. But when you have actually, your intention, you think, well, this is an occasion for me to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not a material thing that all of your faculties, senses, they can benefit from it. So it's just a very pleasant moment with all aspects. Otherwise, it would be a very, you are seeking to get out of drought with a dry prayer.
Building mechanism.
Yeah, so it will be very material and it's a very material way of seeking. The other thing I think is troubling thing is loneliness. Loneliness by themselves. And I mean, I think more or less with Muslim societies as well, people when they have problems, they have, you know, they have lonely situation. In many cases, they go to a psychiatrist so that basically the psychiatrist, they do not bring solution to their problems, but simply just to listen. Being able to listen to them. So I'm here ready to listen to your problem. Tell me what you have. But they don't actually offer any solution as far as I know. And so in this case, you know, I think this beautiful thing in a very lonely society to have a problem and you are confident enough that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens to your problem. That you know he's available, he's constantly able to listen to you. I think this is a great comfort. Even if you are in the middle of the desert, you know that in the midst of your problem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens to you. It's a beautiful thing. So John, that's one example. And might be sometimes our heart might be
And also, I guess these calamities or drought or things like that sort are chance and an occasion for us to understand and realize how weak we are, and they also, help us be more sincere when we are suffering. Because as we realize our weaknesses, and to the level that we can understand, or the level that we can realize how weak or incomplete we are, we realize how powerful lies, and our prayer then becomes more, it's more, sincere. But I guess the key point that we shouldn't miss, I guess, as you said, it would be an encouragement. It would be the start point of our prayer. But again, um, it shouldn't. Our prayer shouldn't be solely aimed at achieving that. Because, as he said, I guess the key in the beginning here is a form of worship. It's a form of worship. So, and worship pertains to the hereafter. So, I mean, you don't do like when we do our prayers and stuff. Our aim is not a worldly success. Our aim at the end is the pleasing Allah, and with that, maybe gaining paradise. So benefits in the hereafter are our main goal. And worship like this, and this is supplication is a sort of worship as well. So understanding this, because I mean, it is easy to understand other type of worship, right? Like prayer, it's in the sunset or in the morning, you are remembering Allah. But in the cases of other supplications, like when calamities hit or when drought happens, whatever, in those type of more occasional events, it might be harder for us to realize that this is also a worship. I'm also doing this not to bring rain, not to get that car or whatever. I'm just realizing my helplessness. I am turning towards Allah, who is all powerful, and He listens to me. Um, I know He can help me, and I know that He's all powerful. But I'm just presenting my situation to the Lord, and He is the one who can help me with His wisdom in the best way He can. So I guess understanding this, I guess for me it is not very easy, especially with these type of applications, like in the case of calamities and stuff. Our nafs are so wants to, wants to get that whatever we are praying
in this world.
in this world.
Yeah.
But I guess at the back of our mind, we have to keep in mind that this is worship, even if it's not given. And when that happens, if we realize and if we understand that this is a time of worship, if it is not given, then we wouldn't despair, because we know that we did this prayer not to get that. We did this prayer to present our weaknesses to Allah and to receive His mercy. And we don't know in what form He will give His mercy to us. So we wouldn't despair, we wouldn't be unhappy if we don't get what we are aiming at, I guess.
Just a follow up to the word unhappy, because even then, what if you don't accept and cross your boundaries? Let's say I did prayers, but I want some results. I want rain. In many cases, actually, you won't get to that point. So it's also painful. That point because it is a material-based way of prayer, so you will not get the results. So in any case, it's the same time. That is, you will not be, if you accept your weakness, that my duty is just really to do prayers, not to seek any result, is a safe side.
Yeah. Acceptable as well. Yeah.
The universe are not our dreams, right?
Exactly.
With our Google perspective, we cannot understand the wisdom behind what's going on.
A good example, 2025, you can remember, the acceptability of the prayers of the sick is an important matter. For the past 30 or 40 years, I myself have prayed to be cured from the illness of lumbago, I think yes, from which I suffer. I think we can check ourselves by giving this example. If we want from Allah something, but if Allah doesn't in this world, what happens? Or what kind of behavior we are doing is very important key or scale to check ourselves. However, I understood that the illness had been given for prayer. Since prayer cannot be removed by prayer, that is, since prayer cannot remove itself, I understood that the results of prayer pertain to the hereafter, and that it is a sort of worship. For through illness, one understands one's impotence and seeks refuge at the divine court. Therefore, although for 30 years I have offered supplications to be healed, and apparently my prayer has not been accepted. Apparently, my prayer has not been accepted. It has not occurred to me to give it up. For illness is the time for supplication. To be cured is not the result of the supplication. If the all-wise and compassionate one bestows healing, he bestows it out of his abundant grace. And if Allah doesn't give what we wanted, this also can help us to check ourselves. To continue supplication or not. And if a person continues, because even paradise is not ultimate aim for the sake of Allah.
So actually, there is a story. I mean, if I may share in the Sufi tradition, there is a beautiful story, because there is the idea that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has different names. Like it's not Husna, one of them is Shafi. So in order for the Shafi name to be revealed, right? The way to reveal that means someone needs to be sick. Right? They should have some type of illnesses, and that this way Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will reveal His name. It will reflect. It will be the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So there's actually a story. So I don't know the authenticity of the story in the Sufi tradition, but I read like a few years ago. So apparently there was a couple. So one night, the guy was laying on his bed and asking for some water, a cup of water. So I mean, it was all days. You don't have the kitchen to go and get a cup of water right away. So comes, and when she comes, so it takes a little time to get the water. Once she comes and she sees that, sorry, the lady is not the lady is sick. That she is she can't sleep. She couldn't have the guy standing, and actually the guy stayed for a while, her husband, and then when the lady opens her eyes and she sees that he is still standing for hours just to wait for her to maybe she will get the water. So when she sees the situation, she said, "Well, I really have treated you badly for many years. So now you ask me whatever you want, I will do it." The wife says, and the guy says, "Well, what I want I want you to divorce me. I want you to divorce me as a." And the lady is shocked, said, "Well, you know why? Why are you? I thought that this will be a new beginning for us. We will have a better marriage. We will get along better." He says, "No, I mean, I only asked you to divorce me." And then she says, "Okay, let's get the imam. You know, if we go to this village, there's an imam. She can, handle the divorce." And then they are on the way. They go, and actually on the way, all of a sudden, she sees that the guy fell down. The husband fell down and broke his legs. And she says, "Okay, well, now we can go back home." She says, "Well, what are you doing this? You're supposed to, now you said we should go to the imam and then we should get divorced." She said, "Well, for many years I have been married to you, but I never saw you getting sick. You never been sick. So I thought that Allah cut off his rahmah from you because you never get sick." So I think in the general, in this tradition, Islam, because I know that in Christian tradition, it's similar, like being sick is an evil thing that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love you. But in Islam, so actually being sick is, to some extent, also, having a right connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taking it as an opportunity, an occasion, to be more connected. So actually they end up not getting divorced because the guy got sick. So this is the story I want to share. When you read the one,
Yes.
Let's continue. As for worship and servitude to Allah, it should be purely and sincerely for Allah's sake. Man should only proclaim his impotence and seek refuge with him through supplication. He should not interfere in his dominicality. He should leave the taking of measures to him and rely on his wisdom. He should not accuse his mercy. Indeed, what is in reality established by the Qur'an's clear verses is that, just as all beings offer their own particular glorification and worship, so what rises to the divine court from all the universe is supplication. This is either through the tongue of innate ability, like the supplication of plants and animals, through they seek forms from the absolute bestower and display and manifest his names, or it is through the tongue of innate being. These are the supplications for all their essential needs, beyond their power to obtain, offered by animate beings. Through this tongue, the animate beings seek certain things from the absolutely generous one for the continuance of their lives, like a sort of sustenance. Or it is supplication through the tongue of exigency, through which all beings with spirits who find themselves in some plight or predicament make supplication and seek urgent refuge with an unknown protector. Indeed, they turn to the all-compassionate sustainer. If there is nothing to prevent it, these three sorts of supplication are always accepted. The fourth sort of supplication is the most well-known. It is our supplication. This too is of two sorts. One is active and by disposition, and the other verbal and with the heart. For example, having recourse to causes is an active prayer. To gather together causes is not in order to create the effect, but through the tongue of disposition to take up an acceptable position in order to seek the effect from Almighty Allah. Flower field is to knock at the door of the treasury of mercy. Since this sort of active supplication is directed towards the absolutely generous one's name and title, it is accepted in the great majority of cases. First read through and then talk about it. The second sort is to offer supplication with the tongue and the heart. It is to seek certain wishes which the hand cannot reach. The most important aspect, the most beautiful aim, the sweetest fruit of this is this. The one who offers the supplications knows that there is someone who hears and wishes of his heart, who hears the wishes of his heart, whose hand can reach all things, who can bring about each of his desires, who takes pity on his impotence and answers his poverty. O impotent needy man, do not neglect the means like supplication, which is the key to the treasury of mercy and to an inexhaustible strength. Cling to it. Rise to the highest peaks of humanity. Include in your supplications those of all the universe, like a king. Say, from you alone do we seek help, like a servant and deputy representing all the universe. Be on the most excellent pattern of creation.
You know, in this, again, just wanted to take an example in the American context, this concept of insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance. I mean, you want to insure like everything. You know, insure your car, insure your home, insure your, I don't know, people themselves, right? So, or you want to insure your future, right? You know, to make sure that there is no any gap or danger, threat in your future. And even in the state level also, there is so much security to ensure, right? To ensure the lives of people. So I mean, when you read the last passage, actually, so then it's really good to rely on Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Dua is one of the best way to ensure, you know, to rely. Because really, people even with the minor things, people they get intimidated when they don't secure it. But actually, if you leave everything inside and rely on Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, that's the best way to ensure everything. You don't need to go all the details. Right? It's a way to get out of this
Most comprehensive coverage.
yeah, most comprehensive.
Yeah, and eternal.
Eternal comprehensive coverage.
Temporary.
Because even for example, sometimes I see this idea of network, making networks, which is a very important concept. In order to find a job, or in case if you have any problem in Turkey, if you know someone from the high rank, this is an important thing because in case anything happens to you, you can rely on them. But this is really again a good way to get rid of this concerns.
Taking name of the Lord of the worlds.
It's ultimately I guess the other, like, we had discussed what are like types of supplication, just to quickly summarize them. I guess the first three is pretty much we don't really when we think about supplication, we only think about just opening, raising our hands and making dua. Like the first three, for example, like it's like anything, like any like plants, animals, when they need something, it's like dua. With their, because we know that anything that is born, any animal that is born, or any plant that grows, it needs sustenance, and that it is given almost in a miraculous fashion. So we see that it is from Allah. By their weakness, because by themselves they can actually achieve, if you think about us, we cannot really achieve as a human being what we want to, all the way do some work towards it. We cannot really say that, if there were no vegetables on earth, we cannot really say that all human beings coming together, we cannot really make that happen. So anything, any supplication, any sustenance we have is given to us in a miraculous fashion. So it's clearly given directly by Allah. And our need, so our need in that sense is the supplication. That is, why our, time of need, innate need, I guess, is one of the types there. But also, I guess, even with the actions that we see control, I guess, there is also, isn't it? I guess it was the first part of the fourth sort of supplication, right? I guess the active prayer. I think that is something that we also sometimes we can go in either two extremes in that sense. And sometimes we say that I just get, I mean, I obtain what I work for. I deserve it. I work for this. If you don't understand this part, then in that sense we can get arrogant, and we can say we can claim we claim ownership.
Like Karun.
Like Karun, right? Because we say seemingly, if you look at the chain of events, you had some, in the chain you had some links, but you cannot obviously claim that it's it. But if we do, it's arrogant. So I guess by realizing that working towards something is a sort of prayer asking from Allah, it cuts that out. In the other extreme, I guess, you know, uh, we can, if we are lazy and say, Allah controls everything, He will give it. It's true, but again, He asks from us this active prayer in order to get what we need for. So this active prayer is pretty much, it says like plowing the field or going to work every day. Those are types of worship, and those are the things that we have. It's a sort of prayer that they're asking from Allah. So
another actually this the idea of I work, then I deserve it. It is a widely uh, a widely perception actually, especially in the Western society, and to some extent in the Muslim societies as well. So if I do it, so I get it. And there's actually a concept in it's called the prosperity gospel. Prosperity gospel. So it means the richer you are, the more beloved you are. So Allah loves you more if you are richer because you work and Allah loved you. That's why you got it. This is actually a part of Christian tradition. And what's interesting, you see even this sentence in the politics actually. For example, in the American context, the Republicans, they don't believe that the government should have the proof. Because based on this Christian concept, they believe that if you work, you will get it, you will achieve it. This is actually the Republican thing. And for example, Democrats, they believe that actually sometimes you work, you do your best, but you may still not achieve, you may still not get what you have. That's why sometimes the government should pay or help those who are in need. And you see how even kind of the perception gets even into politics. So this, I think, is a very fundamental thing, the idea of that. Yes, sometimes you work very hard, but you don't have it.
Still poor.
Yeah, it's still poor. It doesn't mean you are a lazy person.
and I guess in order to stay sane, I guess, and stay hopeful, we have to understand that all we do, all these acts of working towards something, is a prayer, and its aim is not pure in this world, and getting it or not getting it is not really a sign of any sort from Allah, because our prayers, as we discussed, prayer is a worship, and its results might be even this world or the next. Our job is to sincerely go towards it. we're do our best, and accept the results from Allah. And as we discussed in the beginning, we should not, as Persians, and we should not really accuse His mercy by claiming that when we don't get something, we perform that I deserve this, but you didn't give it to me. It shouldn't be the behavior of the believer. More like we do our best for supplication as our worship, and Allah gives through His beneficence. He does. He does not. We cannot really be in despair or anything.
Like the supplication of Job, since his supplication was purely sincere, God restores health, his children, well.
Yeah.
From that example, I understand God always wants our faces turned to God, and He is jealous in that. He does not want us looking at some other speeds, like our health, wants our faces return back to God.
Perhaps we can speak on human progress. For example, in Canada, aeroplanes. They are a result of a sort of application. Here, the sentence I'd like to share. It is this third sort of supplication. This is a supplication of conscious beings arising from need. It is of two kinds. If it is made at a time of desperate need, or is completely compatible with innate need, or if it is close to the tongue of native ability, or is made with the tongue of a pure, sincere heart, this supplication is virtually always acceptable. The greater part of yes, and most discoveries are the result of a sort of supplication. The things they call the wonders of civilization and the methods and discoveries they think are a source of pride are the result of what is in fact supplication. They were asked for with a sincere tongue of latent ability, and so were given to them, so long as there is nothing preventing them and they are conformable with conditions. Supplications made through the tongue of latent ability and the tongue of innate need are always accepted. We can say that in labs, for example, all scholars are in fact making supplication. They know or they don't know, doesn't it? They are making supplication or needs of man in this century, or medicines and other technologies.
And also, I think in many cases they have even personal stories to attach to their endeavors. For example, and there are many doctors who they go into this field because there is someone in their family who is sick, who has lasting sickness or cancer. There are actually many stories kind of this. It triggers discoveries. When people they have a personal experience, either through their family or someone close. They actually are in a person. It becomes a passion.
And a need, I guess, right?
Yes.
Serious need. I guess that also helps us, I guess, when using these technology. It can help us realize that these are actually a result of the worship. They are actually given by Allah. It is not our own making. In that sense, we don't really own them. So, because one, I guess, fallacy can fall into sometimes that we assume
I own this cell phone, I own the internet on this cell phone, and I can do whatever I want with it. But if I realize that it is another mercy from Allah, we can then realize that no, we cannot really do whatever we want with this. This is, like we cannot waste food on our table, we cannot waste our time, we cannot waste our internet on useless stuff. So realizing that also helps us organize better in our lives.
We see them as part of exam. Mobile phones are part of exam. Gift of Allah and the exam Allah is giving.
I wonder, how you would respond to like a discovery by an atheist. So I mean, when it says that everything is evil, let's say the progress is supplication to God as a result of any supplication to God, and how we would make sense of discovery from an atheist.
You can, because if, especially
in conjunction to that, I was wondering, so what would be the names of Allah Asma that is in action when accepting those supplications by a non-believer? Let's say he works in the lab, he does an invention, right?
Because if
It
don't
does
ask,
have-
they would ask us, so it would.
Yes. The sentence, since this sort of active supplication is directed towards the absolutely generous one's name and title, it is accepted in the great majority of cases. What does it mean? And, this sort of active supplication is directed towards the absolutely generous one's name and title. It is accepted in the great majority of cases, Muslim or not Muslim, or unbelievers. If they obey the rules of Allah in force in the universe, I think this is mystery of wisdom or mystery of mercy. Allah gives. This is part of example. Allah gives, yes. Especially which one? And here, or it is application through time of exigency is very important. Through which all beings, from particle to the stars, from believers to unbelievers, all beings with spirits, who find themselves in some plight or predicament, make supplication and seek urgent refuge. With an unknown protector. Very interesting phrase. Unknown protector. In the original text, Ami Mechul. Perhaps the person doesn't know Allah, but in a corner, very difficult situation she faces, indeed they turn to the all compassionate state. After indeed, here there is an explanation, but before indeed, I'd like to repeat. All beings, spirits who find themselves in some plight or predicament, make supplication and seek urgent refuge with an unknown protector. Allah. But person sometimes doesn't say Allah. But only Allah can give.
Or sometimes they give wrong names, they say nature or that.
But وَمَا دُعَاءُ الْكَافِرِينَ إِلَّا فِي ضَلَالٍ. Disbelievers also making supplication, but they don't want from Allah, they want from causes. But still, Allah gives. They suppose that causes are given. Causes are nothing. They cannot create anything. But they suppose, they imagine. This is imagination, not reality. Allah gives oxygen to everybody. Believer, unbeliever, oxygen. Because everybody makes supplication with latent or innate. Oh Allah, give us oxygen, give us sun. Everybody is making supplication. But unknowing. But this is also supplication.
Also, there's a difference between this world and the hereafter. Allah treats His creatures in this world differently than those in the hereafter. So
everyone is here equal.
Everyone is in this life, in this dunya, in this world, equal.
Rahman.
Before the what we call principles of creation, sharat or Sunnatullah. So in that regard, believer, disbeliever, unbeliever, or sinners, or all creatures get rain, food, and shelter for a temporary. No discrimination. So for this temporary lifespan. But when it comes to, since this world is the test, ground, we are under test. But the hereafter, God's name Rahim instead of Rahman will treat us. Yes. So Rahman is more dominant in this life.
So in this world, I guess we can say total equality, right? So an unbeliever working in the lab and a believer, a Muslim working in the lab, their probability to reach success is equal, correct?
But maybe not, maybe just material. I think still we can. I don't know if we can say that the believer and non-believer equal.
Not totally, but there are
receiving God's blessings because there is a spiritual aspect.
From the material aspect, I mean.
Yeah, material aspect.
Because, as you said, in this world to reach, to obtain something, is that the new exam is starting. To have a car, to have a house, new house, we cannot say this is reward. We should say this is exam. To have a car, to be a rich person.
We are happy.
Exam, the new exam.
There is a danger, right?
At the form, should be an opportunity to make very good things or risk.
And if you
for everybody,
you can also get reward.
Yes.
If you are rich, you give your alms and you thank God every day. So you might be more pious than a poor person who doesn't, seek help from God. So it depends on the person.
But it is exact. I think you can check or we can remember together. 40th verse. Namely, Surah Naml, 40th verse. Sulaiman Islam is saying about the gift of Allah. Taht from his fullness. This is throne. This is mercy of Allah and this is example. Two things he's saying. Haza al-Rabbi. Mobile phone, we can say the same thing. Aeroplane, radio, television. This is mercy of Allah and another thing he's saying. This is an exam for me. Allah is giving an exam. By giving it, Allah is giving an exam. Believer or non-believer. All of us are in exile. some people see reward, some people see punishment. Although both, perhaps in this world, they had car, house, money, mobile phone. One of them will obtain reward. Some people
Otherwise,
obtain
everybody has to be believer, right? If God forces us to see the truth, in a clear, explicit, way, everybody would become believer. And what would be the difference between Abu Jahl and Abu Bakr?
I guess history of exam. In the context of supplication as well, right? When we pray for something, we let's say for a car, right? And we get it. I guess that behavior or actual thanking and seeing as an exam might actually help us keep the reward for our original prayer as well, in that sense, right? Because otherwise, we prayed for a car, we got the car, we are content, my prayer is accepted. That stays, that prayer fruit was only that car, I guess. But when we thank Allah about the car and we see that as an exam, then I guess our original prayer for that car also re-aims to after or hereafter, because now we were not, we did not see that point as a result of our prayer. We saw that as the start of a new exam. So we are not really, we are helping back to our original prayer that that is not only accepted for this world, or it can give fruits in the hereafter as well, because we didn't see that result as the result of the prayer, but as a new exam. Yeah.
So at the end, we only owe our intentions and actions. Other than that, we do not even own our very self.
That's why a friend, for example, became general director of a company, for example. When we visit him, we should say, rather, new exam starting. Allah have to to be rich, to be a general director, has means the new exam is starting in this world. Because this world is a place of examination, not a place of reward, pleasure. Reward is in the hereafter.
It's very subtle though. There are many temptations to forget it.
We can remind ourselves.
Helping each other in this world to repay or
James, so what would you say about this topic? Is it subtle? Difficult to relate it to what we have started in the first point, building upon that.
Yeah, I see myself. I'm more like a sponge. It's nothing special, but when you need it, it works great. It's not like the water. Where you take a sponge full of water from the table, it's going to dry out eventually, right? That's how I kind of see myself. I absorb stuff, but it all goes away in time. Gotta get it back in. And I do a lot of forgetting, do a lot of ego gets on my dick. So I always need refreshments because it all goes away in time. I keep forgetting or I lose sight.
You're not different from you. That's why we need this, we need to repeat.
I had one point in my life where the ego got me. Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. What's wrong with him? Whatever. And then in time, I realized that's pretty smart. He's just very, what's the word for it? No, he's very educated, very smart, but he doesn't give his opinions. He takes it all in. And he has his own opinions, and it's fine, but not outside to everybody else, because God can do this, but we will make mistakes when we do this. So I take him as example every time I get too ego-centered. But just don't know the answers. When we have a no, don't know, just trying to absorb and get what I can. 'Cause I know mistakes will come every day.
سبحانك لا علم لنا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله